stand to the pledge. I pledge
allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Let the record show that the only one missing is Director Young, and I understand he may arrive late. We don't have a student rep tonight. Ms. Stefanich, could you start?
Sure. I think I reported last time our first graders and third graders went to Duluth. First grade traveled to the zoo last Friday, and third graders traveled to the aquarium, and they had a great time. Coming up this Friday, our student council and the safety patrol with their 2 advisors will be traveling to the Edge for their end of the year treat. And our second grade is traveling to the Grand Rapids Forest History Center. And then the following week on Tuesday and Wednesday, Tuesday is our K through 2 track and field, and Wednesday the 20th is our 3rd and 4th grade track and field with a makeup day in case there's a rain day on the 21st. So that's what we have going on.
Thank you.
Mr. Hake stepped out for his son's senior awards night, I believe. But he did leave me some updates for the Gilbert campus this week. The Gilbert campus and the senior high and 5th grade, 5th, 8th, and 10th take the science test, and that will close out the MCAs for the year. Star Math is happening this week. The Nell Sheen Spring Sing is 1:30 this Friday. You're all invited to that. Nell Sheen Field Day is May 22nd. On May 27th, the safety patrols at the Nell Sheen and the junior high student council are going to Valley Fair together. And then the awards programs for the Gilbert campus. The Nell Sheen Awards program is at 8:30 a.m. on the 26th. And the junior high awards are at 12:10 p.m. on May 28th. Senior high is equally busy. I have an invitation for you from the NHS. Their annual Memorial Day program will be Thursday, May 21st at 7 p.m. in the high school gym. All are welcome, of course. Our Senior Awards Day is at 10:30 a.m. next Tuesday, the 19th. You are invited to that. That afternoon, we're bringing the 8th graders over from Gilbert for orientation. We take a tour, play some games, meet some senior high students who will also follow up with them next year. The seniors' last day is next Friday the 22nd, and they go on their class trip that following Tuesday the 26th. I think they're going to Valley Fair and the Mall of America this year. Graduation rehearsal is Wednesday the 27th at 12:30 p.m. That's different from other years when we typically do it on that Thursday because we have so many athletic events during the day that Thursday that we're moving it up to Wednesday. Board members are invited to join us on the stage at graduation, which is Thursday the 29th at 7 p.m. We ask that you arrive sometime between 6:30 and 6:45 to get a corsage on and line up with us. As in past years, the board members, administration, and staff will be marching in ahead of the seniors. Prom was this weekend. 66 couples, I believe, were in attendance. Everything went off without a hitch. It was a lot of fun. The theme this year was a sweet night, so there was a ridiculous amount of candy at prom. Maybe that's why most people made it till midnight, but it was a pretty large crowd through the rest of the night. So, last Wednesday, Education Minnesota and the Golden Bear Pride Committee, which is primarily teachers, staff members, some student leaders, organized a day of service, and the elementary and junior high went out during the school day. Some small groups went out and did some service projects, and some senior high groups went out after school last week. I believe we got some good press about that. I'm not sure if you caught it, but that was well attended and very well received, so we thank everyone who helped with that. The physics class is going on their annual Physics Valley Fair Day on Monday the 18th. If you're not familiar with that, there's activities specifically for physics classes on a couple of days down at Valley Fair. They go through and do some activities, and they also get to go on some runs. Senior high testing is almost done. We have our ACT makeup date tomorrow. This was the first year administering the ACTs at the high school. That was interesting. It takes the juniors out of school for essentially the entire day. They got back to 7th hour, but that was it. MCA Science is tomorrow. Math and reading are done at the senior high. A good chunk of our students have signed up for those college level classes next year. And in order to earn college credit for those, they have to meet certain scores, and that's based on the course, on the AccuPlacer test. So Mesabi Range is coming to administer the AccuPlacer to our students next Wednesday. And I think that's all I have.
Thank you. And yes, we did allow Mr. Haig to escape a little.
That was very nice
Yeah.
of you, yes.
We thought it was a good cause. Visitor input. Is there anyone in the audience who is not on the agenda who wishes to address the board? Doesn't look like. Any agenda changes or deletions?
I have none at this time.
Thank you. 7.0, approve the agenda.
So moved. Support.
Motion by Shanlob, support by Gentilini. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion carries. Consent agenda consists of approving the minutes of the regular meeting of Monday, April 27, approving the treasurer's report for the month of April and the first check writing of May, and approving extracurricular appointments. Is there a motion to approve the agenda, consent agenda?
I'll move. I'll support.
Motion by 40, support by Shanlob. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion carries. 9.0, new business. 9.1, approve the principal's 2015-17 contract. Superintendent Carey, could you give us a quick update on that?
Sure. Their negotiations went very well. We settled on a 1.5% increase in year 1 and 1.5 in year 2. Some of the increased benefits include accumulating to a maximum of 140. They were at 130. A raise of 4 personal days from 3 in exchange for the vacation days language to be gone. A raise from $2,000 to $2,200 in deferred compensation. That's their 403B match, and also a $50 per month for use of personal cell phone.
And I'll move that we approve the contract.
I'll support.
Motion by Putzel, support by Peterson. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion carries. 9.2, approve resolution 592, discontinuing and reducing education programs and positions.
The programs that are listed in your information letter there are programs that we at the current time don't have enrollment for. Like, for instance, the elementary ed, the 1.0 elementary ed, we have less kindergartens coming in and 6th grades going out. Our special education numbers have been reduced. And some of that resource time goes along with the elementary reductions. So, if we get more students, we can add back later, but it's either we have to do this now or we can't ever do it again. So, for this year.
Okay. Well, I'll move that we approve resolution 592, discontinuing and reducing education programs and positions.
I'll support.
Thank you. Motion by Putzel, support by Chad. Any further discussion? And we need a roll call. Treasurer Shanlob, could you do the roll call for me, please?
Sure. Gentilini.
Yes.
Peterson.
Yes.
Putzel.
Yes.
40.
Yes.
Chad.
Yes.
And myself, yes. I lost it there.
Just for a moment.
We all do it. And motion carries. 9.3, approve summer band program.
This is something that this district has done for a long time. I don't have an exact number of years, but we do get some dollars for Community Education Youth Enrichment Fund. Comes through Community Ed this is what we use it for. It ends up being a little over $5,000 a summer. Takes care of all of our kids in the parades and also lessons for our younger kids. So it's a good deal.
I'll make the motion.
Support.
Thank you. Motion by Shanlop, support by Gentilini. Any further discussion?
Well, I think this is a good program for the kids. It gets them involved in the 4th of July, and they compete with other bands too, you know. And there's a lot of spectators out there, so they're getting some coverage, you know, which that's good for the kids, you know.
It's also good for us as the school. We get coverage out there
Sure.
too. People get to see not just our band, but even, like you said, the other schools, that their band, how they're performing too.
That's right.
You know.
It's good for them. Anything further? All those in favor? Aye. Anyone opposed? Motion carries. 9.4, presentation from Campus Squagama. Yes, if you'd come to the podium, and I'll ask you to introduce yourselves, please.
My name is Roy Connaughton, and I'm the CEO of the Arrowhead Centre and for Campus Squagama.
Hi, I'm Nikki Swenson, and I'm the new camp director at Esquagma.
We came here tonight basically, first of all, thanks for having us. We came just to talk a little bit about Campus Squagama, be respectful of your time, but Campus Squagama is by Wabakin, it is 80 years old. And about 3 years ago, the county asked us to take a look at it, to see what they actually do with Campus Squagama. And they've invested an awful lot of money in the camp, and what we've done is physically rebuild it and programmatically rebuild it. So we're basically a summer camp for kids, for everybody, and for the community, and for the wider community, for the whole of St. Louis County. We have, in the last 3 years, put almost $1.4 million into refurbishing the camp. We've added stuff like a radio station, you know, so if you're within 2 mile radius, you could probably pick it up. If you come to visit camp, you'll be interviewed by our reporters, you know, ask you who you are and stuff like that. And we've also added a climbing wall, indoor climbing wall. We've added adventure programming. The list goes on and on. We'll actually pass out some brochures so you can take a look. And one of the things that we're adding, we were at a day camp. We're looking at what do the wider community need. So we've added day camp. Well, day camp's been very successful. Obviously, we live in a rural neighborhood. Our neighborhoods are rural, and transportation is an issue. You know, trying to get kids to, if you want to go to work, and you know, you got kids at 8 o'clock, get them. Well, you probably have to be at work at 8 o'clock. So what we're trying to do this year is we're looking at the idea of putting on transportation from 3 or 4 different points on the Iron Range, and being able to transport those kids on a daily, I'm referring to day camp kids, you know, on a daily basis back and forth. That basically gives you a very, very brief overview of what we're doing. One of the other things that we're actually doing right now is we're looking at, my background is special needs camping, is camping for children with special needs, everything from cerebral palsy, spinal bifida, you name it, developmental disabilities, literally bringing kids to summer camp. And what we've used a lot of time with school district is the 12-month IEP. A lot of the times the children need the schooling and all the other things that they're getting on a 12-month basis. A lot of school districts can use summer camp to do that for. We're looking at adding, this year, we're doing a bereavement camp. It is for children who have lost a significant other, parents, siblings. So it is all about bereavement and helping children get through that bereavement. What we're looking at doing, and it's not confirmed yet, is we're looking at doing a family camp for children with autism and their families. So there's some of the new things that we're looking at adding to Campus Squagama. When I say we, it's really this lady here. I just kind of, yeah. She does actually. I come up with the ideas and she does the work. So yeah, that gives you a brief overview. And if you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer them. Or Nikki would be happy to answer them, or both.
Roy, I know when we spoke earlier, you had mentioned to me that right now our kids go to the LEC. And just as an example, you did indicate to me that there is some specialized programming that you could put together. If we let you know what our wish list is, you'd be able to put together something that would meet our needs rather than us trying to fit into somebody else's program.
Well, what happens a lot of the time is, and this is just from the experience of running camps, you know, you get caught in a rut even as an organization. You kind of go, well, this is what we offer. Now, does that customer fit that or not? What we're trying to do is something different. We're trying to say, what is your needs? Rather than you say, what do you do? We're saying, what do you want us to do? What are your needs? So then what we try and do then is design a program to fit what your needs are. And that includes, you know, simple and simple. Do you want a packed lunch? Do you not? Do you want breakfast? Do you not? What are your needs? What activities? What are you trying to get out of it? What educational value are you trying to get out of it? What is it you need or want? And rather than, you know, so basically, we try and design that. Nikki's an actual school teacher as well, and she's an outdoor educator, so none of this is foreign to her. But that's what we're trying to do, is design programs specifically that are requested, rather than saying, here's the cookie cutter, now you fit into it.
So what we can do for you, if you're looking for an outdoor environmental ed type situation, is if you want, you can have your teachers come to camp and see what we have and kind of start getting the ideas of what they want. They can also come with what would fit into their curriculum or what they want to cover within their curriculum. And then we can talk about coming up with the curriculum for the kids to learn while they're there. I've worked at the ELC, and my background is in teaching as well. So we can really, whatever they dream up, they can come to me and we can say, can we make this work, or do we have to switch it a little bit and change it up? So if teachers want to come to me, there's lots of different ways we can do it. I've also thrown around the idea of being able to come out to school if transportation is a problem, and teaching outdoor ed or environmental ed in the schools as well. So it's whatever we can dream up at this point, we can try out and see if it would work for everyone.
Thank you.
Yeah.
What is your timeline for summer usage of the camp?
We have our first campers coming in the last week of June, so June 28th. And then our last campers leave August 14th.
Oh, okay.
On that, one of the things we're trying to do is we're actually trying to get, if nobody's been out there, it's worth a visit, and I encourage you to come out and take a look. The dining hall, we call it the lodge, it's on its historical registry. That's going to be completely refurbished. It's now got heat and air, and we're trying to get more of our winter programming. So we want summer to be as long as we can possibly make it, and also the use of the camp on a year-round basis, and that's our goal. So we're heating cabins, you know, we're doing stuff like something like that. We've built 5 new cabins last year. We're adding more space, like wall tents, but they're incredibly beautiful. Yeah, they really are nice, and we're putting pot-belly stoves in them. So more of a kind of a winter camping. So it's try and do some cross-country skiing, some snowshoeing, some whatever it is we can come up with. And again, hopefully the community will dictate some of that by saying, why don't you do, or can we do, or you know.
Wonderful. Thank you so much.
Thank you
Thank
for
you.
letting us come.
We
Thank you.
appreciate you.
Really, really appreciate it.
Next on the agenda is approve the 15-16 budget.
You're up.
So most of you have already received this, but there were copies at the table that Kathy made for you in case you didn't bring your copy from Wednesday or if you weren't there. So 9.51 is our revised 15-16 budget. And that's just the first page. Nothing has really changed a whole lot from the first meeting that we had. I based the revenue numbers off of the same numbers we had discussed with our reductions that we normally have. looking at our kindergartners coming in versus our seniors going out, and then taking a few out of the classes that we feel when they transition from school to school. Did I miss something? Do you need a copy, Keith? Okay. The only things that changed on this first sheet is that we had finalized our teacher Ed Minnesota contract and our principal's contract. So our overall unassigned fund balance on line 24 would have changed. And we were looking at a much bigger deficit spending. But now we are looking at $218,293 of deficit spending in that unassigned fund balance, with an overall of $421,228 of deficit spending. We were at about $577,000 before we settled those two contracts. So our overall fund balance for Fund 1 and Fund 3, we are projecting it to be $4,020,850 at the end of 15-16, with nothing else changing. So, the next 5 line items, lines 29 through 33, are all of our capital. So our facilities, our deferred maintenance, our equipment and health and safety funds. And it looks like our facilities, we're going to be spending a little bit more, which you will see on one of the next few pages. You'll see that what we're gonna be spending it on. We have a few projects out there. Our taconite maintenance and our other deferred maintenance, and then our equipment, which was already approved by you guys at the last board meeting. I did not include that in your packet. And then our health and safety is still running at a deficit, but it takes some time to catch up because of the levy process. Down on the bottom, you'll have the food service, all of our community ed, and I will be updating that as we go with the community ed because of the change in school readiness and our ECFE programming. And then our restricted debt, scholarships, and our OPEB, which our OPEB is going to be changing based on our last audit and our actuarial, so there will be some changes that I'll be bringing to you guys in the near future. On the next page is just our enrollment, what I based our revenue projection on. This could change depending on what we see in the fall. We were figuring about 70 kids in our kindergarten coming in. Sheena, what do we have registered right now? Okay, so we have about 55 registered right now, so hopefully that number will continue to increase. And we will hopefully get up to the 70 kids that we were projecting, otherwise this will be changing again. The third page is our facilities fund. And that shows our estimated fund balances on June 30th of this year of the $337,287 in our maintenance and repair, our $57,186 in our regular facilities fund, and then $16,401 in our deferred maintenance. The projected revenues. And then out of our regular facilities, we take all of our rentals. So our hippodrome lease, our golf lease, the leasing of the golf, the softball fields, the soccer lease, which could be changing depending on what Mesabi East has decided to do, what they're going to start charging. Our tennis lease, and of course our NLC lease, and part of our debt payment for the Franklin and Elsheen that we had done before. Underneath that, we have the carpeting of the auditorium hall and the hallway from the high school to the Franklin and 5 classrooms. We don't have final numbers on any of these, so these are just projected numbers for our facility projects. General painting, the painting of the lockers out here in the high school, and the window frames. The lovely green color will officially be gone. Concrete work on the manhole, Franklin ramp, and structural roof repairs in Gilbert. And then we had some flooring on the first floor of the Franklin and the stairways that we needed to do. And then we are redoing the gym floor in the new gym. And then that will bring us down to our projected fund balance. And those will change as we get final numbers in from bids or quotes, so. 9.52, which is your additions and reductions, is just kind of a breakdown from our first revised or projected budget sheet of the $421,228 is what we felt we needed to reduce in order to have a balanced budget for next year. We are looking at purchasing a new bus, our technology curriculum that the technology employees were looking at, that they presented to you at the last board meeting. We will have 2 retirements with 1 replacement as of right now. And then we are looking at reducing elementary and secondary by a 1.13 FTE that has with resource time and our special ed that we were looking to reduce. And then our robotics program, because of participation numbers, we're looking at reducing that as well. And then of course, I always have athletic uniforms on there. So on the next page, you'll see that the total yet to be reduced to get us to a balanced budget is $392,726. But of course, we have the tax forfeited land income that we will be getting of $875,000. So right now we are to the good by $482,274. The next couple pages were just informational to show you what the Franklin Elementary and Nelshin side by side looked like for what we had for FTEs this year versus what we're looking at for next year, and also for the junior high and senior high. Did you have any questions? I don't think I changed anything from the meeting on Wednesday, but.
No.
Thank you very much, Candace. You make it palatable. So we need a motion to approve the 15-16 budget.
So moved.
I'll support. Motion by Shanlop, support by Putzel to approve the budget. Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion carries. 9.6, approve 15-18 environmental occupational health and safety contract.
We've been with McNeil Safety for a long time. That contract was up again this year. We had they had been through the service co-op for a long time. McNeil had been our contact through them. Being that it was up this year, we took a look at what the services they were providing, and Candace and I went through that, and we actually found we were getting over-serviced, so we got it down to about $8,500 for the whole package. That's down from almost $20,000 that we were paying before, so it was a pretty good deal for us as well. And that's for each year, $8,500 for each year. They won't go up.
And we were paying how much per year?
About $20,000.
And give me an example or two of the over-service.
They were, well, the service that they provide, they inspect our asbestos to make sure that it's encapsulated correctly. They go through our playground to make sure that everything is safe. They go our fire extinguisher, safety lights, all that kinds of stuff. They have to inspect that and whatnot. And they were coming twice a month, and it was only necessary for them to visit us once a month. Most schools do once a month.
So they're going to do basically the same thing, only not as often.
Right.
It's quite lengthy. I'm looking through this for the services that they are providing. One of the things, Jeff, on the fire extinguishers, don't you have to be certified also by
Yes.
By Baker or somebody?
Yeah, Baker comes to
They come
certify
through
those.
too, and that's a separate
Yep.
charge out of the 8,500.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. The 8,500 is really reasonable, I think, for the amount of services that they are providing here. So.
Yeah.
Okay, that's my only question on the fire extinguisher.
Can we get a motion to approve that contract?
So moved. Support.
Motion by Young, support by Gentilini. Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion carries. 9.7, approve the 15-16 annual membership of the Minnesota State High School League.
This is a contract that we have with the high school league that allows us membership. They don't give us an exact dollar figure now. We won't get that until this fall, but I can tell you that I looked in the last 5 years, it hasn't varied more than about $50. So last year we paid $2,800. So it's going to be in that neighborhood.
Support.
Motion by Young, support by Shanlob. Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion carries. 9.8, discussion on architectural proposals.
I passed out earlier this week, we have 3 proposals. We have one from UNESCO, one from DSDW, and one from ARI. And I asked you to go home and take a look at that stuff, and we need to decide what our next step is. What's some thoughts out there?
One thought that I had on DSGW is that I like the idea that at least they're familiar with our building so that they know what we need. You know, if we need something, they know where it's at versus ARI or UNESCO. Granted, UNESCO's been through it, but they're not as familiar with our routine and everything as the DSGW is. I felt more favorable toward them. The other one, of course, would be ARI. My second choice was ARI.
My opinion is the scope of the project would be to identify which buildings we're looking at, okay? Which buildings are we going to do this to? I think it's kind of hard, maybe personally myself, to go through this book, and this book, and compare apples to oranges and look at the projects on a one-to-one basis. I would almost say you put it out and you list A, B, and C and go through what the proposals are, and then you can look at it and you look at the pros and the cons on all 3. To me, this gives me a better view of comparison, okay? This is just a few notes I wrote down. I went through this. I spent about 3 hours looking through these proposals, okay?
Say
The
Tom,
specific areas.
say Tom, on that, what you're talking about, yeah, I went through them too. But the thing that I got on all 3 of them is that all 3 of them are saying that they will sit down and go with us on what we want.
Okay.
They will listen to us. They won't tell us what to do. They will listen to us on what we want to do. So
Well,
from what you're saying, I'm seeing the same same item on all 3 of them. They're A, B, and C.
Well, next thing I was thinking of specific areas for seeking out available funding. This is another thing that we have to look at, you know. What available funds are out there and what we can do and get a proposal from all A, B, and C. So I'm not, at this time, endorsing A, B, or C. I'm wide open to look at the whole spectrum here. And then come up with a final conclusion, whoever does it, if it's the board or if it's a committee, whatever his decision is made there.
Right.
That would, I would say, would be the final decision.
See, I went on what they gave us.
Yeah, okay.
I'm looking at what they have in here.
Yeah. See, we've had facility studies done before. We had Dr. Warner go through, we've had UNESCO go through. What are we looking at? Are we looking at lighting? Are we looking at our heating? What specific projects are we looking at? And are these the ones that we want to target? And then have them come back on us and give the proposals.
No, I think you misunderstood the intent. My understanding of it is that's exactly what we're trying to determine, is what that list needs to consist of. and we need to engage someone to help us get there.
Right.
So
Right.
I went through them also, I'm sure we all did. You know, this is a big deal, and I doubt that any of us just set these aside thinking that it would solve itself. So I'm confident that every board member, I mean, tell me if I'm wrong, but I'm sure every board member took enough time to read through these that they feel comfortable saying that they like one better than another for whatever those reasons might be. I read through them also, and I liked much of what I was hearing from DSGW, and I'll tell you what, I will make a motion that we award this to DSGW to help us through this process.
And I will second that motion.
Thank you. Any further discussion?
Is that a little premature to?
Yeah, I'd like to hear from all the rest of the board first.
Absolutely.
Yes. Now it's discussion.
We can have discussion.
Yeah. I would like to
Absolutely.
actually maybe take it to one more step further and invite them to come in and talk a little bit versus these are just professional resumes. And if you read through them, they were all kind of braggings of everything they can or can't do. I mean, did they really differentiate themselves from one another?
No, not in my
In my opinion. And as far as DSGW, I mean, I realize they've been around forever, but I mean, we're walking down this road quite possibly to make some very, very controversial or big decisions. And the only thing I think is, I mean, are they too close? Are they too personal? Are they too local to be an unbiased architect to help? You know, and I'm not saying that I'm ruling them out by any means, but that was kind of my thought when I read through it, that they have been a long-standing contractor. They are in the community. It's, can they be an unbiased, can they make unbiased suggestions versus, you know, someone that was in Hibbing a little further away, or UNESCO that's worked throughout the state. I mean, personally, I would like to take another step before we actually make that decision, but that's just my own personal point of view.
And also, I think we should check references. I mean, you know, everybody lays out good references, you know, but actually, it should be followed through to see actually what kind of references we do get out of it, you know. One other factor I look at is the projects that we do, there's energy savings here. What is that going to come back to us in dollars and cents for the district? And are they going to guarantee, if they say, hey, we're going to save you $50,000 on heating, are they going to guarantee that? Whoever does it, A, B, or C. And this is important also to the constituents out there. Well, that's my opinion.
Yeah, but can they really come out and say, we're going to have a savings of this amount?
Oh, yeah.
It could be upwards of this amount, but they can't come out and say 40,000 because
If you read,
anything can
yeah.
happen.
if
know.
you read through the proposals, there are guarantees that are made in these proposals. And school districts have saved that amount of money. And like I say, I'm not going with any particular A, B, or C, but there's savings in here of $30,000 per year, $50,000 per year. In one particular district, over 15 years, is a savings of $5 million. I mean, I think we should be looking at this too, before we jump into anything and say, hey, you know, we're just gonna do this. Is it the consensus of the board that we're gonna vote on this tonight, or
Well, we have a
are
motion.
we going, where the motion's there?
We at least need to address the motion.
Yeah.
We can rescind it if it's the pleasure of the board to go further.
It's a big step. I think we have to really look into this and proceed with caution before looking at three books of proposals. That's my opinion.
That's-
Whatever else the board decides, I mean, it's the board's decision.
Yeah, yeah, you know, that's true. But I look at, you know, one way too is that all three are going to be looking at the same things, primarily.
That's
think it's something we have to look in a little deeper. I read through all of these, and this one, of course, is a little slicker. It's a little more refined. There's more in there, but that doesn't mean it's any different than the other two. It looks to me like it's the same proposal. I think it's just a matter of what we all want to do, what we want, which way you want to go. We've had DSWG for since I've had it, over 20, 30 years, and I'll leave it at that. But I'd like to know how everybody else feels, because we haven't really. I don't think we've really pinpointed exactly what we want. I mean, it depends on which way you want to go and which projects you want to do. One may have more expertise on one than the other, but looking at this, you can't tell. I'm not ready yet to make a decision on it, so that's my personal opinion. But I think we have to discuss it.
We have to start somewhere.
Yeah.
And it's been something that I think we've all talked about for a long time. And I see no problem with supporting the motion that's before us to get started. It is going to evolve as we go through the process. What they bring back to us, what they have for suggestions, what they have for ideas, I'm sure is going to evolve as they go along. And I think it's high time we start the process. And we don't know where we want to go at this point, except that I believe we want to go. That we need to start looking at how we can make this district function better and provide better service to our students. And it is not a outline, step by step, this is what they're going to do. They're going to come back to us with information as they go through the process, and we will provide feedback to them if they're going in the right direction, or if we want to see more information, we have to start. And I am perfectly comfortable with starting with DSGW, starting the process instead of delaying it and delaying it and delaying it. It's been long enough.
Mark, if I can build on what you said, I think one thing, there's been some concern expressed in the last few months with DSGW, with some of the projects that are currently in place. I think those matters have all been resolved, and I think we, to some degree, did them a disservice. We threw them a couple of curveballs. We asked them to design a bus garage and then pulled that out from under when we changed our minds. And we've had a couple of folks serve in the capacity of building and grounds director now, and so that gives them different folks to deal with who give them a little different feedback. So, you know, I think to be fair, I think they've certainly served us well. Hiring someone from too far outside the area, I get what you're saying. You know, they come with a little different perspective. Part of my concern would be that they may not understand the politics of the area, which when you're making huge decisions can be a big element. My concern might be, and again, it's not to address their ability to do the job, but my concern would be that would they come in and help us come up with a plan and then they're gone and they're not here to help us explain how various steps happened or what the process was to reach those, because these things are not going to happen overnight. Mark's right, it's a process. It's got to be a lot of give and take. We're going to be asking them to give us information, some of which we may reject. Other pieces we may ask them to expand for us. I don't know. Well, let's bring this motion to a vote, and certainly whatever the result is, we'll go forward from there.
You got one more that hasn't.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, I was just going to say, this is a very open request for proposal that we,
Yes.
very open-ended that we put out there, and we got 3 very open-ended replies, and I'm in full support of going through with DSGW. I was, from what I've read, I'm most impressed by what they put through.
Okay. Sorry, I didn't mean to ignore you.
I'm
You're not really, you're
I'm used to
invisible.
getting ignored.
You're invisible. Didn't see you there. With that being said, let's bring this to a vote. The motion on the table is to go forward with this with DSGW. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed?
No.
Aye. So if that is 4-3, am I?
4-3?
4-3, okay. 4 in favor, 3 opposed. The opposed were Director Young, Director Peterson, and Director Gentilini. All right. 10.0 Personnel. Approve Resolution 593, proposing to place Steve Klaus on .36 FTE unrequested leave of absence. Is there anything we need to know about
At this
that?
time, we just have, we don't have enough kids in that program at this time, so that's the result of that.
I'll move that we approve the resolution.
I'll second.
Motion by Putzel, support by Young. This requires a roll call.
All ready for you.
Any
Director
discussion
Chad?
on this?
Oh, sorry.
All right. I'm sorry, go ahead.
Director Chad?
Yes.
Director Schonlop? Yes. Director Sporty?
Yes.
Director Putzel?
Yes.
Director Peterson?
Yes.
Director Gentilini? Yes. Director Young is a yes. Unanimous. Passes.
Make sure Kathy's caught up to us. 10.2 Resolution 594 relating to the termination and non-renewal of the teaching contract of a probationary teacher.
This is one, at the last meeting, we went through a number of probationaries, and I omitted this name from the list. So it's an addition. She currently does some specialist work for us in the Nelshin.
I'll move on the motion 594.
Support.
Motion by Young, support by Shanlop. Any further discussion? Roll call vote?
Director Chad?
Yes.
Yes. Director Sporty?
Yes.
Director Putzel?
Yes.
Director Peterson?
Yes.
Director Gentilini? Yes. Director Young is a yes also. Unanimous.
Motion carries. If I have the right letter in front of me, we're up to 11.0.
Yes.
All right, superintendent report information.
Just a couple things. Our next board meeting is currently set for the 25th, which is Memorial Day. I'd like to have one of you make a motion to switch that to the 26th.
Second.
Any discussion?
Same time.
Yeah.
If it's the same time, it'll be late. We start our Friday work week. I get done until 4:30. It's an hour drive.
I'll make the motion. Did I make the motion or did I second? I don't remember. Who made them?
I made the motion.
Why don't you put a time on it?
Okay, I'll put a timeline that we start at 5:30. That'd be fine with everyone? I can be here by then.
I'll support
I
that
think for
amended
one meeting,
motion.
it shouldn't matter.
Yeah.
All right. Any further discussion on that? All those in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? So that's 5:30 on the 26th, correct?
Yep.
All right.
So the motion was moved by Young?
Mhm.
Supported by 40.
Confused you, huh?
It's not easy to do, so good job.
This past week, my faculty committee for the strategic planning wrapped up the action plan. So I will be this week be calling for the full committee to finish up and approve that. So probably, hopefully by the 26th, we'll have something in front of the board on that. And then I guess lastly, I just thought to mention, last Thursday I went to the high school band and choir concert, and it was very, very nice, very, very well done. If any of you showed up, I think our band and choir are sounding really great right now. They're representing our school very well. That's all I have.
Thank you. Board member topics. Director Chad?
I just want to go back to last week, during the cleanup. I just wanted to thank whatever classroom put together little flower arrangements and put them on the doorsteps. I got mine, and it's wonderful. So that's all.
Thank you. Director Shanlop?
No, nothing at this time.
Director
Nothing.
Porter? Director Young?
Budget and Finance Committee, I have a report on that.
Oh,
We, given that Candace went through basically what we went through that night.
I was going
we're
to say
just gonna go
basically
for
the
it.
same thing.
Yeah.
perfect.
She did a very good job.
And she's
Good
cuter.
job. Yes, that's for sure.
All right.
She has more hair, too. Yes, Very good job. I think everything was laid out very well. I think it's very understandable. And if they can't understand it, well, they can always give someone a call. I think it's a very good job. Thank you, Candace. That's all I have.
Director Genoway?
Okay, one thing on the way to the meeting tonight, going past the playground, I noticed that there was a woman in there walking a dog back and forth through the playground area that the kids play in during the day, and I don't think that's very kosher to have animals in there when these kids are running around playing in there on break, you know, so I don't think we have to post no animals allowed in this area or what, you know, I think.
We've asked for that in the past. I don't know what the,
We've had the signs up in the past, and
Thank
it
you.
just, they just walk right by the signs, and they usually their dog leaks on the signposts, so. But we, yeah, we've had signs up before, people just,
I don't know how,
if we have to put signs up again, I don't have a problem with it.
We can do that.
I don't think it's a very sanitary
No, it's-
thing for
signage gives us-
animals to be in the same area that these kids are playing in, you know, and then coming back into the school again, you know.
And the
so I-
signage gives the
I-
police department more authority to say, get out of here with your dog too, so.
Then they can't say, well, we didn't know
I know the city put them up at the ball fields, we've been shooing people out of the ball fields, so
okay.
That would help your job
a lot.
a lot, yes.
Director Peterson?
I got nothing.
I just have a couple of quick items. I also think what the kids did was great. If anybody didn't see the little note that was with the flowers that were distributed, and that was primarily to homes and businesses near the school and then the downtown area, correct? They didn't get the whole town. It was people, I think, directly impacted by the school. And I did get a nice call from a teacher to let me know that Ed, Minnesota and Golden Bear Pride were the groups behind that, and I think it was great. A lot of reaction to it. I got a lot of nice calls, so I think people reacted well. And the other thing is I want to make a point of thanking both Ed, Minnesota and our principals group. We had contract negotiations with both groups recently. Their professionalism and the way that they approached the contract negotiations was amazing. Really, really a positive experience all the way around, and I hope they feel it was equally handled well. There was no animosity. We didn't throw anything. There was no screaming and yelling. So I thought it was a real positive thing. Anybody else have anything they want to add?
Oh, that was a really nice thing that was on WDIO about Lisa Glowacki and Ross Perko.
Yes.
That was a plus for us.
Yeah, absolutely. I'll entertain a motion to adjourn. We are adjourned.